Randall Hughes with God Glorified, and reading our Bible through using the Reese Chronological Bible this year, and January 6th, the reading that we've read today for the 10th through the 13th. And not a day that had a significant amount of theological weight to what we read. There's a lot of content. I'm not saying there's not of frustration and grief that Job is enduring and is having to deal with. In this day, it was with Zophar, who answered and talked, and the main takeaway was that we trust God no matter what. We continue to trust no matter our circumstance. And in chapter 13, verse 15, that's where Job said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him, but I will maintain mine own ways before him." To say, I am who I am, God is who he is, he's made me who I am. There's some things I have to change about myself, to be a better person, to be more like him. But there's some things I have to accept that I cannot change. And so we want to accept those things and say, this is where I'm at in life. There was several years ago, I suffered an injury and altered my life, my ability to work in the manner I had worked before. And there's some days that impact is greater than others, but it's still there, and it's a part of me, and it limits me. And I very frustrated at the time. There was times that my faith was weak during that time, and my wife was with me to strengthen me through that, and we made it through that. There were other times we could go through the various sicknesses and things that we both endured, and she's endured, and challenges we had with the health of our boys when they were both born. Both had little different issues, but things that could have been major. My oldest son had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck twice, and you're just going, what if we had delayed his birth any more time? What would have happened? Who could know what might be the future of that young man that God blessed me and my family with? My youngest son had digestive issues that were just a tremendous challenge for the first couple of years. I don't even remember how long it was that we were going to a digestive doctor, and he was being fed with what they called TPN. I just intravenously had to take his food in. His colon wasn't functioning the way it needed to, and he became a failure to thrive child, and they had to do all these things. We went to Kansas City for tests and had to stay in the Ronald McDonald House, and so many different things that were challenges in those first few years. We'd go to that one doctor, one specialist, and there were teenagers with backpacks with their TPN in it, with the vein, the tube going in their arm, still being fed intravenously, and we're going, God, will this ever end? Fortunately, I don't remember when it was, somewhere 2.5, 3, I don't remember when it was, he was able to get off of the TPN and began to eat, began to function, began to process normally. Thank God. Today he's 6 foot and 200 pounds, and both of my boys are, and that's superseded my height and weight, size, but just healthy young men, and blessings of God to my family. And so we can't always know what the future holds, but there can be tragedy. There can be circumstances like this. I know several of the deaths that I've had in my family have been due to cancer. One of my aunts, the first aunt to pass away, had dementia, and I believe it was dementia, Alzheimer's. She began to go into decline at a very early age. I want to say in late 40s, early 50s, and passed away. And you're just, why? I don't know, God, but I'm going to continue to trust you. My Aunt Sue, my Uncle GL, Uncle Mitchell, Aunt Betty Lee, all have passed away. I had a cousin, Tammy, that was killed in a car accident when she was 18, and just the tragedy and the difficulties of challenges of moving forward with that. And yet, Job said, I'm going to trust you. He lost 10 children in one day. I can't fathom. But he said, I'm going to bless him. I'm going to bless his name. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. There's that faith and hope. Job didn't know what his end was going to be. The Bible tells us that God blessed his latter end greater than his beginning. And he had more. And there's no way that you can substitute a child. There's no way. But I'm just saying God was able to bring joy back into his life. In spite of the losses, he was restored, and God made a way. And I'm just saying, so you don't jump off the plane just because it goes through the storm. You weather it out. You continue to say, God, you have a purpose. There may be doctors. We've different times. I was at a doctor's office with one of my wife's appointments, had a bone in her foot that was not healing. And while we were at that doctor's office, we just sat down, hadn't been there very long, and an elderly lady was coming out and had a younger lady with her. But I got up and opened the door for her, help her get out the door. And as she's going through the door, she said, "Young man, I think I know you." And I looked at her and I looked at the young lady with her, and I recognized the young lady was the wife of a young man I'd gone to church with for several years. And his sister was a good friend of my brother and I and our family. I knew her husband and a couple of her boys, and was closer to the daughter than and her youngest son. But at any rate, she hadn't been to church in years. And I took that as a moment. She was having knee replacement surgeries, and I said, well, these bodies weren't meant to live forever down here. And I was able to, I felt like that was a moment of grace for that woman, to remind her parents were some of the charter members of our church that we go to. And yet she hadn't been to that church, hasn't been to our church in years. I don't know how many years it's been. Had been over in the East Coast for years. But yet, here was this moment of grace because of my wife's situation in health, that we were able to interact with that lady and her daughter-in-law. And so God has the big plan, and I'm going to continue to trust, continue to hopefully shine the light and be a witness, continue to praise and bless his name. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. So God bless you. Have a great day.